before you got into wrestling, though, you enlisted, right? Before you started your wrestling journey, you enlisted. And
2 weeks after I graduated high school, I was on a bus.
2 weeks?
2 weeks. I didn't enjoy nothing.
Boy.
Yep.
Me 2 weeks after high school was different.
It was just getting
fun.
started.
It was a lot different.
No, I was like, I got to enjoy my girlfriend at the time, and then I got to enjoy my time with my dad in Buffalo for like a week. And he gave me the spiel like, hey, this is what you're going to do. You're going to run into some suckers in the Army. You know, some people like trying to go against the grain. But let me tell you something. The Army's been around for 400 years. It's never going to change. All right? It's never going to change. It ain't going to change. You ain't going to be the one to change it either. Let me tell you that right now. It's going to be the same. So this has been the same since I was in. It's going to be the same when you were in. There's no changing it.
Army not going to change.
And I was like, he put it that way. Like, it makes sense.
Yeah, you know.
Like you gonna change the government? Okay,
right,
no, just do what they say, go with it, and it ain't gonna last forever. Just like give me the good straight to be. I'm like, yep, and got on the plane and flew down to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and that was the first time I was like 16, 17 years old, and I was like on my own, like I got to figure it out.
Yeah,
but it wasn't like so much that you were left on your own. It was like, oh, we're waking up at 4, report to this at this time. And you're not going there by yourself. You're kind of like lining up formation and everything. So you're like, oh, if I follow these instructions, I'm going to get what I need to where I go.
Yeah.
That's really it. That's what the military is. And then after you get out of that, you come home and like, that's kind of how the rest of life is too, in a sense. Like if you like, here's the guidelines, here's what you do, just do it. How do people mess this up? I don't get it. Like you got to figure out like how are people messing this up? They like this is literally telling you what to do. So like and that was like 17 years old, and then just sparked. I was like, I feel like okay, I can accomplish things now, and that's where like confidence really started growing in me as a person. Like, oh, I gotta learn how to shave.
Oh,
how's that work?
Oh, that's it. Oh, that's not so bad. I used to be afraid of that.
Yeah,
but now the Army put me in a place where like, no, you have to do this now. Like that's your regulation. Okay, I got to learn to do it. Like, oh, you have to have your uniform like proper. You got to dry clean it. You got to do this. You got to make your bed. You got to align your foot lockers and your locker and all that stuff. You need to learn organization. Okay, boom, did that. And I'm like, that wasn't so hard. I used to be like kind of worried about all these things, and now like I'm accomplishing them at 17 years old on my own. I can't call my mom. Yeah, like they take our phones away. We don't have them. Like you can't call anybody for help. You got like maybe you got a good bunkmate, maybe you don't. Yeah. And maybe you have an asshole drill sergeant, maybe you don't. But you got to figure it out. But the guidelines are there, and if you can't figure it out, struggle. Like there's a way to figure things out, and that's where like that carried over into wrestling. Man, things ain't going around the right way, and I was like, there's a way to figure this out. Yeah. I'm gonna figure it out. And I always kept that mindset through everything. I'm like, even when my kids were born, I was like 18. It was tough. I was scared. I was running from it a little bit, but then I was like, no, you buckle down. I can figure this out. Yeah. It's not easy, but it is a challenge. And with challenges, it takes time. Yeah. And it takes persistence and it takes consistency. Yeah. Like big time. Like challenges, you don't just solve them one time.
Pressure makes diamonds.
Yeah, but you got to keep at it. You got to keep at it, and eventually it'll happen. But the military taught me that at a young age.
Watch new episodes of No Contest Wrestling every Wednesday or listen wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow us at No Contest Wrestling Podcast on Instagram.